Yo, this be actually really hard.
UBK shit, South Coast shit, man. Shout out Bar Tennessee, up that business. Hey, get the money, hey. I know the fuck going on out there, motherfucker, man. Hey. I get the money, nigga. Taste the paper, bitch. Keep all of your morals, never slave for shit. Ice up on my wrist. Yeah, I'm hood rich. I don't give a fuck about to get pop quick. Yeah, I'm on that shit. Yeah, I'm in the town. Niggas talking about that G, but now they come around. They can't even come around. Yeah, I'm up, nigga. Man, fuck all of these hoes, get the buck split. I'm a young rich nigga, I ain't tryna flex. You can tell I'm cold by the ice around my neck. Straight up BBS, I charge you, boy, you wanna test. I don't get no shot up by a nigga or a bitch. Boy, I love the life I live, cause a nigga keep it real. Nigga freshly hell, take that drip, but get your spill. I ain't little flip, getting pimped up out of hills. I'm a straight G though, getting paper like a miso. That's that South Coast stain if you tryna hang. You be cared about it, bang, boy, we rep the same. Nigga tryna talk, but we rep that murder game. Get your ass pop, ain't nothing to a G. All up, bitches wanna fuck, but hell nah, I don't pay no fee. Bitches lead 2G, got that ice, I make it sneeze. All these niggas lame as hell, can't even come around me. Bitches South Coast, South Carolina, bitch, I'm styling, yeah.
Really no demons get control of me, no money get the best of me, no bitches getting up over me. Don't want much, nigga, I'm sucker free. That's the way it gotta be. These niggas chain, these bitches chain, y'all chain is soak me. For real, this brotherhood of weapon. And bitch, we carry weapons. Like a rob on nigga ass won't even need a weapon. And y'all be represented, and y'all be well respected. And if you got a problem, then y'all way better address it. You cross that line, we ain't show no mercy. Cross that line, you ain't gon' need search. We pull up and they get nervous. You ain't making no moves, you ain't got no purse. On UBK, so I ain't never worried. I'm putting the work, both of my hands dirty. For real, I learned from the OGs. I'm a young nigga, but I'm a certified priest. And I'm from Tennessee. In this mandatory that I gotta keep my heat. You should play it safe, and we gon' play for keys. For real.
Top, man, shit. Make sure you let these niggas know what time it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Get on this motherfucker. Let these niggas know what time it is, you understand? We royalty.
King Ty really one of the realest. I survived drive-bys from them killers. Like I got 9 lives, I got 9 wives. I said fine wine with them bitches. I'm spitting fire bombs in your city. I got like 8 or 9 niggas with me. And we all ready to die in a minute. One West, we the best in the business. I get offended, I fuck niggas spend it. Talking they get it, but niggas is timid. Rappers is softer than linen. Catch me out parking lot pimping. What more could I give them? I've been the hottest forever. Why would I lie about cheddar? I could do better. I just put loyalty first. Royalty coming whenever. Pull off in the Jetta. Curvacy on me, you sweater. My fault like wearing a sweater in summertime weather. Haters so salty, no pepper. You not that seasoned or clever. I'm with the rebel. Used to pump bass with the treble. Baking a cake in a kettle. I used to cook up the work. Now I just cook with the metal. Gotta keep foot to the pedal. Yeah, let me give it gas on the highway. Let the music blast on the calm day. Break the Glock down into 3 parts. Put the 3 together like Menage. Sipping like Bombay with my enclave. Got my mind made. Ain't no time waste. Eating prime steak with a fine date at a fine place. Getting violated.
Hey, listen. I already told these niggas, you understand? I call up King Ty, he say what's up, I say what's good, my lord. Listen, he like, listen, these niggas ain't ready for none of this, you understand? I said, listen, if the nigga ain't one West, he ain't got on his arm or his chest, I don't give a fuck about the nigga. It's just me and my niggas, we royalty, yeah.
I got the hammer, you running, man. Come through your window like rubber man. Snapping your neck like a rubber band. Talk to my dog like the sun is setting. He told me murder you rappers. Uppercut sending you vertical actors. Y'all got me coming with verbal attackers. I might attack you type physical too. Way y'all be rhyming, the way y'all be shining. I'm blinding these rappers like Mr. McCoo. These haters miserable, we indivisible. Look at these haters like they got no clue. No clue. They hold up ones in them W's. Really, bro, don't get too comfortable. If you ain't cut from the cloth, co-signed by the Boston, we do not fuck with you. Cause you wouldn't last here. I told you the same shit last year.
Already told.
Keep talking that trash, I have a car, come kick your ass in.
You already know.
Your jaw like glassware. We pull up, not rocking no mask there. Don't care if you spot us, you know how you got us. It's over, you saying your last prayer.
Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer will hold down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? Truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2025, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. So what we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible to reclaim to reclaim our righteous place on the earth as kings, priests, princesses, and daughters of Zion. What we like to do is to start these classes off with questions. If any brothers and sisters have questions, type them in online. If there's any questions in the room, all you gotta do is raise your hand. If there are no questions online, then we'll get into the topic of tonight's class. What you see on the screen is rededicated to the truth. All right, rededicated to the truth. As we all who are in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge are aware of, this Sunday, December 14th at sundown, is the Feast of Hachaanakah. All right. And the Feast of Hachaanakah is the feast of the rededication of Solomon's temple back to the Most High during the time when the Maccabees revolted against the Greeks and took our land back from our oppressors. All right. You can read about Hachaanakah in the Apocrypha in the book of Second Maccabees. I believe it's First and Second Maccabees. And so we'll be having a feast this weekend. If you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you have family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. All right. We're gonna have a feast this Sunday, man. And as we prepare for the Feast of Hachaanakah, it's important to know that the purpose of Hachaanakah was for the men and the women living in Israel during that time to reclaim our land from an oppressor, was a monumental testament to the Lord being with us, right? There's a scripture. So like there's a scripture in the Apocrypha, I believe it's in the book of Shalakia. It's a book in the Apocrypha where there's a council of heathens. Is it the book of Judith? I believe it is the book of Judith. We're going to start off with that. There's a scripture in the book of Judith where heathens are having a council about going to war against the children of Israel. And in the preparations for this war against the children of Israel, one of the heathens says, we have to find out whether or not this people is right with their God. Because if this people is right with their God, then there's no military force that's going to be able to affect them or topple them because their God is strong. But if this people is not obeying their God, then we can go to war with them and we'll be able to overtake them, because if they are not right with their God, then they don't have no protection. You understand? And that is important because we, as the heathens were able to recognize this about us as a nation, we have to also understand that it extends to us as individuals. Meaning what? We today ourselves are the temple of the Lord, right? We are the land of Israel that the Lord is ruling over. And when our adversary, the devil, comes to attack us, comes to destroy us, if he finds us serving the Lord, then there's nothing that he can do, then we're protected. But if he finds us disobeying the Lord, if he finds us weakened, then we can be overthrown. But just like Israel was overthrown at one time in the past, and righteous men rose up to fight and take it back, and when we took it back and rid ourselves of the enemies, there was a need to rededicate the temple. We ourselves today find times in our lives where we have been overtaken by our enemy, where we have been overthrown in our service to the Lord, overthrown in our complete dedication to righteousness, overthrown in our understanding of and willingness to accept counsel and to take it and to do what we're told to do. When you find yourself in a place in life where you have been overthrown by the enemy, you've been overthrown by our adversary, when you find yourself having fallen away from all the right that you know to do, and you find yourself having not taken heed to all the counsel, there's a need for you to fight to take your spirit back. There's a need for you to fight to get back in control of your body and in control of your life. And when you do that and you come back to the Lord, there is a need, the same way that the righteous men who fought and took Israel back from the oppressors had to rededicate the temple. There's a need for us ourselves to rededicate ourselves back to the Lord. So that's what tonight's class is going to be about. You understand? I would love to sit here and teach a class and say, man, once you come and serve the Lord, that's it. Your battle stops and you overthrow Satan and you win and get the victory and it's a wonderful life. That's not the truth. That is not the reality. You understand? Unfortunately, for many of us, you come into the truth. That is when your battle with Satan truly begins. And you find yourself over the years, and hell, not over the years, you find yourself daily in a tug of war over doing what's right, doing what you know to do, taking heed to counsel, applying and allowing the Lord to be first and primary in your life. And oftentimes we can find ourselves losing those battles. And when you lose those battles with your adversary, I'm talking about something going on in your mind, I'm talking about a battle you have with Satan. I'm talking about something spiritual that we all experience. You find yourself on the losing end of those battles, and you find yourself on the losing end of making those decisions. You look up one day and you realize that you strayed away from the Lord. You strayed away from doing what you were chosen to do, strayed away from being the person that he called you to be. And in those times and in those moments, you have one or two choices to make. Either I'm going to continue to allow myself to slide and be overthrown, or I'm going to mount a defensive and I'm going to take myself back from Satan. I'm going to stop doing the things that I know not to do. And I'm going to go and get counsel. I'm going to get help. I'm going to get around the brothers and sisters. I'm going to strengthen my spirit, strengthen myself so I can be who the Lord called you to be. And then you fight to get back in control. And once you get back there, you have to take some time to find out what must I do so that I don't fall again, so that I don't slip again, so that I don't lose this comfort and this zeal and this love for the truth and the Lord that I have right now. In those moments is when you have to rededicate yourself to the truth. All right. So that's what the next class is going to be about. Again, I don't see any questions online. So because I don't see any questions, we want to go ahead and get right into it. All right. First scripture, I need to find this one in Judah. So y'all bear with me. Salaki. I'm not going to find it on there. Hold on. See something. See if I can find it on here. Bear with me for a second, y'all. I'm going to try to pull up the scripture in Book of Judah. All right. King James Bible Online.org is a good website. Right, you go to King James Bible Online.org. They give you King James Standard Edition, King James 1611, and you can look up different words. All right, so the words that I'm going to search in here is going to be okay. I'm putting the word obedient. I'll modify the search, and I'm gonna go to Apocrypha, and we are going to get the Book of Judith. Let me see, Book of Judith. There's only one page. Okay, let's see if they obedience. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Nope, it's not in the Apocrypha, not the word obedient. This people. Let's see if we get the term this people. Look that up in the Apocrypha. 696 instances of this people. Okay. Judith chapter 5. All right. So I typed in the term this people. It gave me one of the options out of the Apocrypha was Judith 5 and 6. All right. So I know this people, that says this people are descendant of the Chaldeans. This is the beginning of the conversation that this heathen has concerning the children of Israel. All right. So let's go ahead. We got Judith chapter 5. We're going to read on down. All right. Okay, let's read on down. Tell me now who, boom, boom. The ancestors, famine. Reading on down. Turn to their God. Come up. I said, all right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and pull the scripture. I'm going to pull the scriptures up on the screen so y'all can see them as I read them, all right? Once again, if you want to join into the class, let me know. I can send a link out for you brothers and sisters that's tuning in online. I can send out a link so that you are able to see the class. Not see the class, so that you can be seen on screen. If you had any questions or some of you officers out there may want to come into class and read, if that's the case, just let me know and I can go ahead and add you into the class, all right? I want to make sure that these classes are fully interactive for brothers and sisters to participate in the ways that they would like. So if you want to get on the screen to be seen, to ask a question or to read a scripture or anything like that, then y'all just let me know and I can put the link in the chat, all right? All right, so boom, here we go. This is the book of Judith. We in chapter 5, and we're going to start with verse 20, all right? It says, now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach for all the world. All right. This heathen understood something. He understood that the children of Israel cannot be overtaken carnally. Meaning what? Your guns and your weapons and your ability to wage war does not mean you will overthrow the children of Israel. The only way that you can overthrow the children of Israel is if you find them in error against their God. To be in error against the Lord means to what? To not be obeying him, to not be doing what he said to do, to not be keeping the covenant that he made with our forefathers. But if we are obeying him, if we are doing what the Lord said to do, then there is no force on this earth that can come against us. And this heathen understood that, man, them people right with their God, there's no way that we're going to win. Well, guess who also knows that? About all of us individually. What applies to us as a nation also applies to us as individuals. All of us in our individual walks with the Lord are bound to be attacked at any time. And what our enemy, what our adversary, who is known as Satan, knows is that if we are right with the Lord, if there's no error against the Lord, then he doesn't have any power to overthrow us. But if he comes and finds that we are in error with the Lord, then he knows that he can have his way. That is why the nature of spiritual attacks, that is why the nature of the battle that we all fight in our lives is one of obeying the Lord or disobeying the Lord. You are never going to be tempted by things that will not cause you to sin. You know what I mean by that? I mean, okay, I need you to understand that. Not what do I mean by that. I need y'all to understand that. Satan is not going to waste his time tempting you with things that are not going to cause you to sin. Satan's not going to bother to try and get you to, over drink or drink too much liquor, drink too much wine, unless he knows that if he drink too much liquor, drink too much wine, he's going to sin. You understand? Satan would not think of the problems and the issues that you have in your life. Think of the things that wear you down mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Think of the things that cause you to be frustrated, that cause you to lose confidence, that cause you to beat yourself up, that make you feel low at times. Those things are being used against you because they are going to cause you to sin. Satan knows all of us very intimately. He's been in our lives and intertwined with who we are since the days of our youth. And Satan has known, because he knows us, he knows what he can use to cause us to slip, to cause us to fall. He knows that thing that is going to hurt you enough that you'll turn your back on the Lord. And unfortunately, because of that, that is the exact thing that he is going to use to attack you. If all Satan has to do to get you to not serve the Lord is to bring us, break your heart, then guess what? Your heart is going to be broken. If all Satan got to do to get you to turn your back on the Lord is remove a loved one from your life, we all have to accept that death is a part of life, right? Satan has to remove someone out of your life that you love in order for you to leave the truth, and Satan will remove someone out of your life that you love. If your job and your financial security is what keeps you focused on righteousness and serving the Lord and obeying him, then Satan will make sure that you are financially unstable. He'll make sure that all your investments fail and your ability to be able to pay your bills over the next few months is going to be shaky so that he can cause you to sin against the Lord. Whatever it takes to get you to slip and fall, that is the thing that Satan is going to do. Why? Because Satan knows that he has no power against you as long as you are obeying the Most High. All right, let me show you that in the scriptures. All right, so the first scripture we pulled was Judith chapter 5, and we read verse, what was that? 20 and 21. All right, 20 and 21. Now we're going to go to the book of Job, chapter 1. We're going to start at verse 6, all right? Get the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6. I'm going to go ahead and put the scriptures on the screen again. Let me know if y'all like that look with the scriptures on the screen, all right? Let me know when I'm reading the scriptures. Would y'all rather see them on the screen, or is it not necessary? I need somebody to type it in, all right? Because I'm not, I did it the other day. I did a class with Captain Kahan, and he wanted the scriptures on the screen, and I kind of liked the look, but I just wasn't sure if it was something that translated for the people online. So if you're online, let me know if you would rather see the scriptures on the screen as I'm reading them, all right? All right. Okay, so here we go. This is the book of Job, chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 6, all right? Let me read up a little bit. All right, this is Job, chapter 1, verse 6. Hold on. Come on. All right. Job chapter 1, verse 6 says, Now there was the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. What does that mean? Satan came to give a report. And as he came to present himself, the Lord asked Satan, man, where you been? What you been doing? Satan's reply was, I've been doing my job, man. I've been going back and forth, to and fro in the earth. Why? Satan's responsibility, his job is to test men, is to be the tempter, to try and get who he can to disobey the Lord. Why? Because Satan is the Most High's measuring stick. You understand? Satan is a tool that the Lord uses to measure our dedication, to measure our righteousness, to measure our ability to persevere. You understand? How does the Lord know that you are a deserving child, that you're actually a good kid, that you learned your lessons, and when times get hard, you will stand with him and be loyal and be dedicated? How does the Lord know? He sends Satan. He sends Satan, and when Satan tests you, you prove to the Lord who you are. The Lord sends Satan and you overcome. The Lord look at Satan and say, see, I told you. Solid, man. The Lord sends Satan and you fall. Satan goes to the Lord and says, see, I told you wasn't nothing. Told you he was weak. Told you if you just did this, this, and that, I'd take him out. And the Lord say, you know what? It's all right. He going to bounce back, though. And you better bounce back. Let's keep reading. This is Job chapter 1, verse 8. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that fears God and escheweth evil. What does it mean to eschew evil? To eschew evil is like you keep evil as far away from you. Job was a man that feared God and eschewed evil, which means what? He did everything right. Job was a perfect and upright man. So what is the Most High doing? He's saying, Satan, did you try Job? Did you tempt Job? Verse 9. Now this is Satan responding about Job the same way that heathen in Judith responded about going to war with the children of Israel. This is how you know that the same way our enemies can't come against us if we're right with the Lord, the same thing applies in the spirit. Job chapter 1, verse 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for naught? Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he has on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Meaning what? Job got a good life. You've been good to Job, Lord. You done gave him everything he asked for. So of course Job is going to fear God and eschew evil. Why wouldn't he? You gave him every reason to serve. You gave him every reason to do what you said to do. It's verse 11. Put forth thine hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he has is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Satan challenged the Lord about Job. And the Lord said, listen, man, do what you want to do to him. Watch he gonna stand. What we all have to understand and accept about life is that the tests and the temptations that we experience are ones that were given God's grace or given the okay by the Lord. The Lord said, I will allow it. Whatever struggle you're going through, whatever difficulty you're facing in life, whatever horrible thing occurs that you have to find your way through navigating and overcoming, the first thing that you have to do is accept that God gave the okay. And if God gave the okay, that means that the Lord has already given you what you need in order for you to get through what you're facing. Sometimes when we go through things in life, we only see the negative. We only see the evil. We only see the sadness. We only see the setback. Sometimes you have to recognize that in life, the only way that you can understand who it is the Lord made you to be is if you overcome something that you didn't imagine you would be able to overcome. So in order to gain that strength, in order to gain that pride, in order to have that knowledge of self and that understanding of your capacity to do great things, you got to go through the fire, man. You got to go through the pain, and you got to go through the heartache, and you got to go through the difficulty so that you can come out on the other end better. Satan knows the greatness that we possess. Satan knows the potential that we all have to do something amazing in the name of the Lord. But Satan is not going to allow us to manifest it without a fight. And the same way the children of Israel rose up against against the Ptolemies during the Maccabean Revolution and took Israel back from our oppressors and rededicated the temple to the Lord, we're going to have to rise up against Satan. And we're going to have to go into a battle to free ourselves from his control, to free ourselves from his influence, to free ourselves from his lies. And we're going to have to take ourselves back and then rededicate ourselves to the service of the Lord. You understand? Let me get the book of Hebrews chapter 12. We're going to go into Hebrews 12, and we're going to read about the chastisement of the Lord. You understand? Read about the chastisement of the Lord. All right? All right. Let's get Hebrews chapter 12, and we're going to go to verse 7. All right? Hebrews chapter 12, and we'll go to verse 7. All right? It's important for us to understand that without the struggle, without the difficulty, without the warfare, you could never appreciate serving the Lord. You understand? So you have to go through the warfare, the difficulty, challenge. You have to be tempted. You understand? Something life-defining has to occur in order for you to define your life by the righteousness of the Lord. Living a righteous life is not about never having to face difficulty. It's not about never having to fight. It's not about never having to overcome. Serving the Lord is about knowing that everything horrible is going to come your way, and you're going to have to fight your way through it, standing with the Lord. And that along the way, there may be times where you're not standing with the Lord. There may be times where you lose sight of the big picture. There may be times where you allow yourself to get too comfortable, too relaxed. You forget a little bit about how horrible your life was before you found the truth. You forget a little bit about how horrible things were before you began to serve the Lord. And you slip and stop doing the things that you knew you were supposed to do. And then you wake up one day and you realize that you in hell, that none of this stuff is working out for you, that everything is crashing in around you. And you say to yourself, why? And then you remember, damn, I stopped doing what the Lord said to do. I stopped going to class. I stopped checking in. I stopped getting counsel. I stopped letting the men of the Lord make decisions for me. I thought that I could do this thing on my own. Sometimes for some of us, that's Satan's biggest weapon against us is our own mind. Satan's greatest tool against us is convincing us that we know best. I ain't got to go to them for that. I ain't got to ask for that, permission for that. I ain't got to check in about that. It's a small thing and a big deal. All right. Sure it wasn't. What's amazing to me is in the times in my life before the truth and in the truth, you know, when I get into a place, a position in life where I recognize, damn, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not sure if this decision is the right decision. I'm not sure how things may turn out if I do this or do that. I would tell myself, but I can live with it though. However it turn out, I can live with it. That's not a righteous way of going through life. That's not the way I go through life when I fail. When my greatest the easiest times in my life have been the times when I failed and given up thinking that I know what's best. And because I've given up thinking I know what's best, I just let the men of the Lord make decisions for me. I remember when I first came into truth, I was at that place in life where I knew I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm just not going to do anything. I'll just do whatever they tell me to do. Any decision I make, anything I think I want to do, I'll just ask them. And if they say yeah, then it's yeah. If they say no, then it's no. And I'm in that place because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm broken. But after a while, man, you begin to heal. And things begin to come together and start to work out. And, you get to getting back on top and getting back to the life that you know you deserve to live and doing the things that you know you're capable of doing. And somehow you forget that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But then you stop calling to get counsel, to get told everything to do. You stop thinking to yourself, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I shouldn't make this decision on my own. And you make it on your own. And it may take 6 months. It may take a year. It may take 2 years. And for me, I can't recall the time it takes. But I get back to a place where I look up and I'm like, damn, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I messed it up again. Right back where I was. And in that moment, I accept. I gotta call and get counsel. I gotta let these men make decisions for me again. I gotta let them tell me what to do again. And I get back to a place in life where my mind is at ease and I'm at peace and everything is cool because I'm no longer the one making the decisions. I'm letting the men of the Lord tell me what to do. Then you get comfortable again. And you get relaxed and things is working out and everything is being what it's supposed to be and doing what it's supposed to do. And then you stop making the calls. You stop getting the counsel. You stop letting those men decide for you. And then before you know it, right back. Right? So the only way to put an end to that cycle is to eventually suffer enough to where you say, I'm not going to let myself forget that I don't know what I'm doing and I need these men to make these decisions for me. Everybody understands? So let's go ahead and get the book of Hebrews chapter 12. We're going to start at verse 7. Hebrews 12 and 7 is about understanding that cycle. It's about accepting that in life, there's going to be in life, you have to be chastised. In life, you have to suffer a bit. You got to go through some difficulty because that is the way that the Lord raises us up. That's the way the Lord molds us into who we need to be. That is the way that the Lord forces us to have to be rid of all of our impurities and imperfections. If we never went into the fire, the Lord could not purify us. And Hebrews 12 perfectly explains how we must think about that process, all right? So on the screen, you should see, hold on, bear with me. This is Hebrews chapter 12, starting at verse 7. It says, if ye endure chastening, God deals with you as sons, as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? You understand? If you endure the chastening, then the Most High deals with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? What is that talking about? A father has to discipline his kids. Father corrects his children when they're wrong. Spanks them when they do what they know they're not supposed to do. Makes them hurt when they go against his rules. Why? Because that father wants his son to be perfect. That father wants his son to be made in his image. That father wants that son to be a good kid. You cannot become a good kid without being checked, without being chastised, without being made to hurt for doing the wrong thing. Verse 8, but if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards and not sins. Guess what? If you come into the truth and your life is wonderful and you never suffered through anything, then the Lord was not dealing with you. You in the truth by default. You in the truth because you know somebody. Right? Those of us who are in the truth because the Lord called us, you're going to suffer. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do the wrong thing from time to time. And when you do, there will be someone there to correct you. Whether it is the men of the Lord to check you in a counsel, to correct you, when you call and get some help, to put you through difficulty and make you hurt so that you can understand the seriousness of this life that we are living. The Lord will make sure that there's someone there to deal with you for your wrongdoing. But if you go through life and never have no difficulty, never have no struggles, never make no mistakes, then you'll never get that chastening. And that just means that the Lord is not dealing with you like a son. It make me think, I remember when I was young playing sports, they would say, the coach is always riding you and always checking you and always, correcting your posture or correcting your technique. He said, man, when the coach is paying attention, they own you because they see that you got potential. They see that you could be better. They always messing with you because they know that you the one that could get it right. The coach never talk to you, never bother you, never come and speak to you. That's because the coach know that you're not worth the hassle. You're not worth the, frustration. You have to look at fighting in the truth as the Lord dealing with you the way he deals with a son. Everybody understands? Let's go ahead and drop down to verse, I believe verse 11. Let me see. Yeah, let's drop down to verse 11. Hebrews chapter 7, now verse 11. It says, now no chastening for the present to be joyous. Meaning what? It's not fun when you're getting chastised. It's not enjoyable. Yeah, you call and get counsel about something that's difficult that you're dealing with in life. You are not going to get told it's okay. Oh, brother, oh, sister, that what happened? It's going to be all right. A lot of times you call to get counsel, you get asked a million questions. And you like, why are you asking all these questions, bro? I just needed some help. You thought you was going to call and ask the questions. You go to get counsel. You call in to get counsel. You want to ask some questions and get some help. You call to get counsel, and then you get asked a million questions. It throws you off. It does something to your spirit. When you call in to get help, you don't know that you're calling to get chastised. Sometimes you know that if you call for counsel, you're going to get chastised. That's why you don't call. A lot of brothers and sisters in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge learn not to call for counsel because counsel is going to come with chastisement. Well, guess what? If you are not calling to get counsel because you are avoiding getting checked, because you are avoiding the chastisement, then you are accepting that you don't want to be dealt with like a son of the Most High. You're acknowledging you don't want to be dealt with like a daughter of the Most High. If you understood the truth, if you serve the Lord, you would welcome chastisement. You would welcome correction. You would welcome when you calling for help, tell me what's wrong. You think that what's wrong is this story you have to tell. When really what's wrong with you is all the answers to these questions you're being asked. And there's something inside of you that is frustrated with the questions that's being asked because in your mind, that's not my problem. To the men of the Lord, they know what your problem is. And that is why they ask the questions. And if you can accept that, then you'll call knowing they're going to ask questions, knowing you're going to give answers, and knowing you're going to be told that you're wrong. When your spirit is right with the Lord, you look forward to calling for counsel to be told that you're wrong. I can remember when I came into the truth, my first slip up, my first wrong in the truth is we all came into the truth in DC. There was a sister I knew in the world. I brought into the truth with me, right? The sister at the time had like a cleaning service where she would go and do like a new apartments. They re-rent, like they cleaning out an old apartment. They're trying to get it prepared for the next tenant to come in. And at the time, like 3 or 4 of us didn't have jobs. Now, we knew the rules of the school were when you come into the truth, you're off limits, not to be talked to for 6 months. But because I knew the sister in the world before the truth and I brought her in, hey, I kept talking to him. It wasn't nothing sexual. I did not want no type of nothing with this woman. We stayed in contact, as she go to class and learn different stuff. She would call me, we would talk about it. So I knew I was doing that. I was going against the rules by doing that. But in my mind, I ain't finna have sex with her, so what difference do it make? Well, the sister had a job. A couple of her workers stopped, they quit, right? Well, I knew there was a couple of brothers in school didn't have slaveries, and so I told them, hey, man, I got a little contract. We go clean an apartment. We can get this amount of dollars, but we got to go in there and strip the paint off this and that and paint this and do that. The brothers was like, all right, that's cool. We could do that. No, we couldn't. We get over to the job, We didn't have the tools we needed, didn't have the equipment. I had to call the sister. She show up to give us the stuff. And when the sister show up, the brothers was like looking sideways like, hey, I thought we ain't supposed to be having no dealings or nothing. We are off limits and this and that. We ended up, she worked with us that day, trying to clean the apartment out or whatever. But of course, we haven't, like, going against the school rules. We all having conversations we shouldn't be having. And it wasn't nothing negative or evil. It was just the sister was talking about how she didn't like a man having more than one wife, and she wasn't going to deal with no man that, this and that and that and this. And we all young in the truth, like, when it says that's just what the Lord said. We ended up battling with the sister over scriptures. I thought we could just leave it there at the crib. Oh, it is what it is. Don't even worry about it. Nope. Somebody went and told the school. One of the brothers went and said, Salak, Captain Sock know the, I didn't even have a Hebrew name at that time. The brother know the sister from the world, And we did a little job, but we got to arguing, and I don't even think the conversation was right, so I got called into a council. And I didn't lie in the council. I told the truth. I knew the sister, blah, blah, and then I did keep contact with her. I didn't think it was a big deal. And, we did a job, and I had to give an account, my witness of what happened. And I remember after that council, everybody was dismissed but me and the sister. And the chastising that the sister got, I just thought it was super harsh. Like, damn, that's crazy. They talked to her like that, said that to her. That's wild. And then the sister left the room. And then what was said and done to me was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing, horrible thing for me at that time. Made me feel very small. Made me feel very stupid. Made me feel like, like I was just a goofy. And I remember then saying, I don't want this. Like, I don't want to feel this way. So I'm going to do everything I can to never be in this position again. Like, in my life in the truth, I don't think I've been in another council where I did something wrong against the school since then. Like that, it took me one time to do something where I had to get checked and I had to get chastised, and it helped me in such a way that I said, I'll never be here again. Like, I'm not going to do this again. And I think since then, there's maybe been 2 that I have gotten to where I got asked those questions and gave answers, and then, well, like, your problem is you're this and that, and you're doing this, and you're to blame for all the horrible things you're going to do right now. And the only way it's going to get right is if you do this and do that and do this. And I've accepted that. I'm going to have to take a check. I'm going to have to be told I was wrong. I'm going to have to accept that I got to be better, right? But I don't think I've trespassed a brother or sister or the school in that way since that first checking. It took me that one incident to learn that I don't want to be on the wrong end of this council. You understand? So those of you that's been to council, that have been, you know the process, you know how unsettling it is inside of you. But that unsettling inside of you is Satan fighting you to listen. Satan fighting you to do the right thing. Satan not wanting to be casted out. You can feel it. You can feel the rejection. You're in a council, you're being told something. You can feel the thing inside of you wanting to jump out, wanting to scream no, wanting to say, why are you talking to me like that? Why you gotta be so hard? You gotta, that is why you have to go through the chastisement. That is you being dealt with like sons. And you have to accept that in life, if you're going to become who the Lord called you to be, you're going to have to take that chastisement. You're going to have to go through that uncomfortability, because it is that uncomfortability which gives way to you being free from Satan ruling over you. You understand? And that's what we're about to read here in Hebrews, the 12th chapter. This is Hebrews 12 and 11. It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. It's grievous to get checked, to go through chastisement, to call for counsel, knowing you need help, but knowing that they're going to ask a bunch of questions. But guess what? You gotta, if you want to get better, that's what you got to go through. It's not a good thing. It's not a joyous thing to get checked. It's not a joyous thing to go to counsel. It's not a joyous thing to confess your faults. But if you really want to be better and serve the Lord, then guess what? You'll put yourself through that grief. Reading on in Hebrews 12 and 11. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Meaning what? If you go through the chastisement, the fruit that you'll receive is righteousness. When you go to get counsel, when you go to get corrected, when you go to get help, in the end, the result is going to be you're better. Right? The result is going to be you're closer to the Lord. You learn a lesson and you're doing what's right. You back on track, obeying the Lord and serving him, and you're not in error. But you got to go through the grief and the chastisement. You understand? But if you are exercised by it, then what you'll have in the end is righteousness. It's like going to the gym. Go to the gym, get on that treadmill, lift those weights. Next day, you feel that soreness and that pain. Nobody likes going through that, but guess what? A couple of weeks, you look in the mirror, ooh, starting to see some definition in his arm. Starting to see some inches coming off of his belly. Because you exercised your body, you're able to see improvement. What's that saying? No pain, no gain? That applies to your spirit as well. That applies to being who the Lord called you to be in the truth. If you want to gain, you're going to have some pain. Hebrews 12 and 12. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out the way, but let it rather be healed. What is that talking about? At the time in your life when you're not doing everything the Lord said to do, at the time in your life where you are being overthrown and being defeated, at the time in your life where you need to be chastised, that is when your hands are hanging down. That's when your knees are weak. That's when your feet just want to, go every which way. But that is the time where you got to lift your head up, lift your hands up, poke your chest out, strengthen your base, your legs and your knees, and then you got to be healed. Everybody understands. Let's drop that. Let's get go from Hebrews 12 to get Proverbs chapter 24 verse 16. Proverbs 24 and 16. All right. Proverbs 24 and 16 says, for a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again. You understand? Oh, I ain't put it on the screen. So lucky y'all didn't let me forget about the screen. My bad. Y'all bear with me. This is a new thing for me. All right. Get Proverbs chapter 24. down to verse 16. All right. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. Nah, come on now. Hold on, bear with me. All right, Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16 says, "For a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief." Everybody understands? It doesn't say a just man never falls. It doesn't say a just man is above stumbling. Now, the scripture says a just man falls 7 times. What does that mean? You're going to be just, you're going to be a man that's righteous and honorable. You may make a mistake. You're going to be a woman that serves the Lord, honors your husband, stays together forever, has children, accepts him having other women, having other children. You know, there may be a time where you slip and you fall. You're not doing everything you're supposed to do or being every bit of who it is that you've been called to be. What makes you just is that you get back up more times than you fall. But falling and just staying down is what leads you into mischief. Everybody understands? Satan's job is to get you to fall into mischief. Satan doesn't win by getting you to fall. Satan wins by getting you to stay down. In the book of Job, we read in the first chapter where Satan was unleashed against Job. There's 40 chapters in the book of Job. 40 chapters of conversations and back and forth that Job is having with his people in his life who Satan are trying to use to get him to break his spirit. But in those conversations, Job never allows his spirit to break. But Satan is behind these conversations because it wasn't enough to get Job to fall. And Job, even though he fell, got back up. You understand? You cannot lose yourself over stumbling in the truth. You cannot lose yourself over making a mistake. You can't lose yourself over doing something wrong. You got to face it. You got to take the correction. You got to go through the pain. But if you get back up, that's how you live righteously. That's how you become who the Lord called you to be. That's how you get better. Proverbs 24:16, "For a just man falls 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief." Everybody understands? There comes time in the truth where you have to rededicate yourself to the Lord. You understand? All of us, when we came in the truth, man, we crawled in here. Spirit broken, confused, learning something new, trying to get right with the Lord. And it was a wonderful thing. And then life happened. And as life happened, we got relaxed. We forgot who we were in the past. We forgot how horrible things were. We forgot how miserable life can be without the Lord being the number one priority. And we fell away from that. We allowed other things to become important, allowed other things to get in the way. And then you were brought back to a point where you were when you first came into truth. And you looked around and you said, man, I can't do this. I gotta get back right. And that's what you did. You got back in class, got back around the brothers and sisters, started reporting and checking in, and guess what? Everything in your life got better. It's important that you never forget that. But you never forget what it feels like to get up. Pray and ask the Lord to give you the strength and the wisdom and the courage to be able to stay up. All our lives, we've been falling down and getting up, falling down and getting up. One day, Lord allow, you'll get up and you'll never fall again. That's who the Lord called us to be. That's the reason why we face the chastisement. That's why we go through the things that we go through. Because the Lord is trying to make us to be something that we don't know that we're capable of. All right. Let's drop that. Let me get I won't. Let's get James. Get James chapter 1, verse 12. And we're gonna get James chapter 1, we're gonna start at verse 2. We'll read down to verse 8, then we're gonna read verse 12, all right? Boom, let's get it. James chapter 1. James 1, let's see what this Zoom is. I ain't gonna show it. All right, let's get James 1. All right. All right. Come on, B. All right, this is James chapter 1. Start at verse 2. All right. James chapter 1, verse 2 says, My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that gives to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Does anybody not understand what I'm reading? Verse 2, it says, Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. You should count it joy when you're tried by Satan. When Satan comes to you and tries to get you to slip and fall and go against the Lord, you should count it joy. Let's say you weren't aware that it was Satan that was trying to get you to slip and fall. Say you've fallen and you down bad and you did things that you thought you would never do once you learned the truth. Still count it joy. Anytime you fall, there's an opportunity to get back up. Anytime you take an L, there's an opportunity to bounce back and get a bigger W. Don't allow yourself to be beaten down and made sad and descend into the sunken place because you slipped up, because you made a mistake, because you did something you wasn't supposed to do. Call and get some counsel and get some help and ask on how can you be better. And then prepare for the pain, prepare for the hurts, prepare for the chastisement. Why? Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. The Lord just trying to teach you how to be patient. Verse 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect, entire, wanting nothing. You can't get perfect unless you go through things that cause you to learn patience. Verse 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that gives to all liberally and upbraideth not. What does it mean? If you don't understand why you're going through what you're going through, if you don't understand why me, then ask of God. How do you ask of God? You talk to the men of the Lord. You get counsel. So, like you, sir, I made that mistake, and I got that check-in, and went to counsel. I just want to know, why would the Lord allow me to do something like that, or what is it about me that caused me to do something like that, knowing that I know the truth and knowing that I know what's right and what's wrong. If you want to understand what's going on inside of your head, then you got to ask counsel about it. If you don't know why you keep doing the things that you're not supposed to do, call and get counsel. If you want to understand what's going on in your mind, that you keep doing the things you know you're not supposed to do, then you got to get some help. You got to get some counsel. And you'll get the answers. The Lord he'll give you that wisdom liberally and upbraideth. To upbraid something is like to hold it tight. Now the Lord gonna give you the answers you need. You got to call and get that counsel. And it shall be given him. Verse 6, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Understand this, you call to get counsel. You want to understand why things are going on in your life and why things are happening the way that they're happening, you better ask in faith, meaning ask being ready for the answer. Ask knowing that whatever answer you get, you're going to accept. Ask knowing that whatever orders you're given, you'll follow. Ask knowing that whatever pain you're meant to endure, you're willing to endure it. Because if you ask not in faith, then you are going to be like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. You're going to be knocked back and forth. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been in that place where you call and get counsel and get help, and the answer you get is not the one that you expected. It's not the one that you wanted. And your reaction to it is, F that. I'm not doing that. That's crazy, man. That's silly. Ain't no way that's the way of the Lord. Now you're like someone tossed back and forth. Why? Because you didn't have faith to accept the answer you were given when you went to get help. And it's amazing that I'm able to break this down this way because I've never thought about it in this context. And this is what James is laying out. James is bringing out the process of what someone goes through when they go to get counsel. When they go to get something horrible happen in your life and you have not counted it joy. You're like, man, what is going on? Right? And you're not understanding that this thing that's going on is going to teach you to have patience. And so in your confusion and you're not understanding what's going on, you call and get help. And you think the help is going to be, easy peasy and it's okay and it'll hold your hand. You call and get that help and it's chastisement. You call to get the help and you get asked a ton of questions. You call to get counsel. You get asked a ton of questions about a situation that you thought you just had to tell them what was going on, or you just had to ask for help. You get asked a bunch of questions and you get told to do some stuff that you don't want to do. And so you, after the call, you sitting there like, man, what the hell going on, man? Nah, that ain't right. Why they even do this and that? You're like, that's your faith wavering. It's Satan in you trying to get you to not trust in the Lord, trying to get you to not take heed to the counsel. And if you go through that, then you're like someone in the middle of a storm being tossed back and forth. It's like being in the ocean and the waves ain't stopped. That's a bad spot. Verse 7, for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. If you somebody that calls to get counsel and you aren't already made up in your mind that whatever they tell me I got to do, you're going to do it, then when you call and get counsel and you decide you're not going to follow it, you cannot think that you're going to receive anything of the Lord. The Lord is not with you. You call to get counsel, and the counsel tell you do A, B, and C, and you hear it, and you say, you accept what they told you. But then after that call, you say, man, F that, I'm going to do D, E, and F. Just know that the Lord is not with you. The Lord is not going to give you anything. If all you're doing is setting yourself up for more chastisement, you're setting yourself up to get corrected further later. You called to get correction. You called to get help. You thought you was calling for help. Really, you was calling for correction. You get the correction. You get instructions on the correction. And you say, nah, I'm straight. All you're doing is setting yourself up for more correction later. Because the Lord is not going to let it work out your way. The Lord is not going to let you win against counsel. Oh, man. Brother, the Lord is not going to let you win against counsel. You're not going to be able to be told in the counsel, brother, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. And then you go do it anyway, and it turns into a win for you. All it's going to turn into is more chastisement. And that some of us are gluttons for chastisement. I am a glutton for chastisement. Correction. I used to think that it was better to be corrected by the Lord directly than by the men of the Lord. I used to think that I would suffer something horrible and say to myself, yeah, man, the Lord did that. I used to think that was better than going and saying, Salakia, sir, I got this situation I'm dealing with, and then to be questioned about it, and then at the end to be told, Sock, why would you do that, Ak? You know you should have did this and that. Why didn't you call earlier? Why didn't you call sooner? Well, listen, Ak, if you're going to get some help, you got to go do this and that. I used to think that it was better to just let God deal with me. It's not. You're not going to beat the Lord. You're not going to beat the men of the Lord. You're not going to prove to them that you were better than the counsel they gave you. It's not going to happen. And James is trying to warn you. You understand? The brother, it's like on the road to water for the invite when I get a headpiece on my Lord. On Travis Lord, what I can read for you. Most High in Christ a call. I appreciate that. I look forward to it. All right. You're not going to win going against counsel. James chapter 1, verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. What does it mean to be double-minded? To be double-minded is you call to get counsel. And rather than you thought that you were calling to get help. Rather than just getting help, you get asked a bunch of questions and then you get told what you did wrong. And you get told what you need to do to get back right, to be better. And then you finish that call and you say to yourself, man, forget that. That ain't right. I called to get help and I got checked. If you don't accept what happens on that phone call, then you are unstable. You're double-minded. You pick up the phone to call for counsel, you should be picking up the phone to accept whatever I'm told in this call is from the Lord. So many of us do not look at it that way. We do not look at calling for counsel like we're calling to hear what does the Lord want me to do. Some of us look at the man that's counseling us. Some of us look at the who answers the phone and says, he just said it because it's him. You just think you're going to call me and get a different answer? Nah, that's not how the Lord works. You understand? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Don't be double-minded. Be sure that what you want to do is serve the Lord. And if you're sure that what you want to do is serve the Lord, then you'll be able to accept that the men of the Lord telling you to do things that you wouldn't think to do yourself is why you had to call the men of the Lord. And then do what they tell you to do. Reading on in James chapter 1, drop down to verse 12. It says, blessed is the man that endures temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. What is the crown of life? The crown of life is the knowledge and the wisdom of having endured. The knowledge and the wisdom that comes from bouncing back. The knowledge and the wisdom that comes from doing wrong, falling down, getting checked, and then ultimately getting back to where you need to be right with the Lord. Going through that process makes life better. It allows you to rule over yourself. It allows you to be in control. It allows you to be back right. And it's the thing about being back right that we all have to accept is a part of our journey in the truth. It's not always okay. I remember coming in the truth, right? And it was easy to feel like, yeah, I'll never sin again. I'm gonna always do everything right that the Lord said to do. I remember coming in the truth and feeling like there were things in my life that just would never, ever happen again because now I'm in the truth. And having been in the truth for some years now, I realized that was a silly, foolish way for a young man coming to serve the Lord to think. Because some of the things that I said, that was behind me forever. They found their way back in my life over these years I've been in the truth. And I've made mistakes. And I've done things I wasn't supposed to do. I've fallen as a result of it. But I thank the Lord that I always was able to get back up. Getting back up is a part of being in the truth. Just like turning our back on the Lord and going into captivity is a part of the Israelite experience. We right with the Lord, we obeying him, he blessing us. The generation raises up that's comfortable. They forget about the Most High, they turn their back on him. Enemies come against us. We go into captivity, we suffer. The generation in captivity is raised up to remember the Lord and to fear him and to come back to him. We raise up mighty strong men that overthrow the oppressors and take our kingdom back. And then we back comfortable again. That's your life. You was born not knowing the truth, living in the world, came into the truth, stopped doing certain things, you put off certain evils, and then after a while you got comfortable and relaxed. Satan came back a different way than what you expected. He came back a different way than what you were used to. He caused you to slip and fall. and you back jammed up and down bad, maybe worse than you was in the world. Then you got back right with the Lord, got back in the school, got back in class, got back getting counsel. Things improved again. Things got better for you. Things started to look up. And then you got comfortable again. And then Satan came a different way than what he came the first few times, and you fell again. It's not the falling that Satan is after. It's you staying down. Satan can get you to fall, but Satan does not win unless you don't get back up. So as we prepare for the rededication celebration of the King of the our land and our temple being rededicated to the Lord, let's decide today that we're going to rededicate ourselves back to the Most High. Let's acknowledge that today we are the temple. In the same way, we're going to go redecorate these schools and clean these schools and make the places where we dwell more beautiful and glorious to the Lord. Let's do that for ourselves as well. You're a brother or sister out there, man, you falling, you slip, you let Satan play you. Just know that Satan can only win if you refuse to get back up. But if you get back up and you accept the chastisement and you desire to be who the Lord called you to be, then no matter what situation or circumstance you are in, no matter what difficulty in life you are facing, the Lord going to bless you. The Lord going to reward you. The Lord is going to provide you with a way out. All right. We'll get one more scripture, then we'll close out the class. Let's get Luke chapter 15. Bear with me, hold on. It's Luke 15. Hold up. Hold up. All right. All right, let's get Luke chapter 15. We're going to start at verse 18. We're going to read down to 24. All right. We'll close out the class. All right. This is Luke 15. And this is the parable of the prodigal son. Parable of the prodigal son is one of the more famous parables that Christ provided, but is largely misunderstood because of Christianity, right? I mean, not largely misunderstood. The weight of the prodigal son, I think, is not respected in Christianity because not enough of our people understand the perspective of the father in this parable, the brother in this parable, or the son who comes back, right? So the parable, I'm going to give you the whole parable for time's sake. The parable of the prodigal son is there's a man who has a family. He has two sons, and he provides well for these sons. They have everything that they want and that they could need, and they live a good life. Well, the younger son grows up and, lives a wonderful life, but he's, wants something more. He believes that there's something that life has to offer him that's greater than what he's getting in his father's house. So he leaves his father's house, leaves his father's rules, and he live his own life in the world. And life in the world kicks his ass. Salaki. He get dragged through the mud and finds out how cruel and horrible the world outside of his father's house really is. And he's poor and down bad, and he wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm not going to live like this no more. I'm going to go back to my father's house. All right? So he goes back to his father's house. His father receives him and celebrates his son's return. Then the older brother comes home and finds out his little brother's back. And he sees how happy his father is and how much his father is celebrating his youngest son returning. And the older son is offended. Says to his father, like, that nigga left, man, disobeyed you and went and did whatever he wanted to do. Now he come back and you acting like, he did something great, or it's you happy. Why you happy? He left. He abandoned us. And the old father says to his older son, I got you with me always, man. You always by my side, and I love that. But your brother was dead, man. I thought he was gone forever, and he's back. He deserves to be celebrated. You can't let yourself be offended by someone who leaves the truth and then comes back and gets right when you never left the truth. You understand? Not everything is about you. Sometimes things in life that happen are about someone else. And that's what the parable of the prodigal son is about. It's about a father who loves both his kids. And he raises them right and teaches them and gives them the world. One of them accepts what his father gives him, the other one rejects it. And the one that rejects it learns his lesson. And he comes back and I learned my lesson. I want to come home now. That father is going to be proud of both of those sons. But neither of those sons should be offended or bothered by that being the case. Because you should accept that the father loves you for what you've done. And also you shouldn't be mad at the father for loving someone else for what they've done. Let's go ahead and read the parable. And we'll close out the class. All right, this is Luke chapter 15, verse 18. It says, I will arise and go to my father and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. What is this son doing? He came back to his father to get counsel. Came back to his father to get help. He turned his back on what his father taught him. He let Satan play him, and he fell. He came back, and he apologized, acknowledged his wrongdoing, and said, just whatever role you have for me, I'll accept. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. That's you calling to get counsel. That's us calling to get help to the men of the Lord. We're calling to get counsel. We're calling to get help. You're going to be asked those questions, and you got to answer them. And you're going to be chastised, and you got to accept it. You're going to be given instructions on what to do to get right, and you have to follow them. Or else you are not the son that comes home and is willing to accept whatever the Father has for them because they've learned their lesson. All right. Luke 15 and 21. Luke 15 and 22. But the father said to his servant, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. The celebration that the father throws for this son is what the Lord does every time we get back up. When you fall, it's like Satan bringing you closer to death. But when you get back up, it's like you coming back to life. It's like you on your way to being lost, but now you're found again. And that rejoicing and that celebration, that's what takes place in heaven. What happens in here when a brother or sister learns the truth, is in the truth for some time, but then they stumble? They make mistakes, do things they're not supposed to do. Some brothers leave. Some brothers lose rank. Some sisters get checked. But then they accept where they were wrong. They take accountability. They put in the work to get corrected, to become better. Those who stay, they're glorified by the Lord. You see their growth. You see their maturity. You see their strength. Those that fall off and disappear for some time, they come back. Good to see you, Art. Glad you're back. You just get, you know what I'm saying, get to it. Do what you got to do, Art. You know what I'm saying? And it's a joyous thing to see brothers and sisters still fighting. The point is, it's always going to be a fight. Don't let yourself be deterred by losing a battle or two. Satan powerful, Satan strong. Satan been winning battles for a long time. But Satan does not get the victory over you until you stop getting back up. So December 14th is the Feast of Hachaanakah, the celebration of the rededication of Solomon's temple back to the Lord during the days of the Maccabean revolution against the Greeks. Let us, as we remember the dedication of the temple, let's remember that we are the temple of the Lord today. And just as they had to fight and take the temple back and rededicate it to the Lord under the Maccabees, sometimes we got to fight and rededicate ourselves back to the Lord against Satan. Here in ISUPK, the Lord has given us all the tools, all the counselors, all the structure that we need to become the children he called us to be. The responsibility is on us to stand in where the Lord called us to be and to endure what he's seen fit for us to go through so we can come out on the other end the children that he called us to be. And with that, clap it up. With the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2025, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is. You brothers and sisters out there, got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. And with that, I'll see y'all tomorrow for class. Maybe General Muhammad teaching, but if so, we will be on the screen. If General Muhammad is not teaching, then I will be holding class. With that, shalom, Israel.